Michelle Obama started a podcast. What's good, people? Welcome back to another episode of Reacting to Small YouTubers' first YouTube video. And today, Michelle Obama started a podcast, so we're gonna check out her first video. And she's a small YouTuber, so why not? Now she dropped this video 4 days ago. Michelle Obama and Craig Robinson started a podcast. Let's get into it.
A lot of people have questions they want to know, especially when they see somebody of note with a platform who, by every measure looks successful. The first question is how? I think this podcast, first and foremost, gives us an opportunity to hear from folks. We're going to be taking, questions from listeners who are going through some things and just need a little advice. They want to hear from people in conversations, and folks are looking for a place where they can just they can hear stories. I mean, what I realize is, like, by sharing some of these stories, it always taps into something from somebody else. People, they want to hear some honest kind of conversation about how people are working it through. And we don't have all the answers, I mean, this show isn't about us being experts at anything other than the lives that we've lived. But what we do have are a lot of opinions.
Hence the name.
In my opinion, IMO. This episode is brought to you by Rivian and Pine Sol.
Well, I'm
Rivian and Pine Sol. She has a Rivian and Pine Sol endorsement. How does Rivian have any money right now to do an endorsement? They still got funds like that? And Pine Sol? That's crazy. Her to drop her first podcast and already have 2 endorsements. I love the intro. I like the color. In my opinion, I like the name because I was wondering what IMO stood for. This kind of cool. I think it has possibilities. Let's get back. Let's start the video again.
Craig Robinson, and you all know my sister, Michelle Obama, and we're doing this podcast together, and it's really exciting to be working with you on this project.
Some people react like, you're doing a podcast with your brother?
Why would you do that?
I know, really. But our dynamic is so, in my view, unique. I think there are plenty of siblings who have great relationships. But, I think when we think back to where that came from, I think about just the physical closeness that we had. I mean, we weren't wealthy.
Right.
And Dad was working class. We lived in the same apartment our whole lives and had to grow into that. And as a result, you and me, we were physically close growing up.
Remember when we used to share a bedroom?
Of course, that was our life growing up. We shared the same room until you went to high school, right?
That's right.
Well, let's first just recall how small the apartment we lived in. It seemed like it was huge.
I'm gonna be honest. She losing me already. I don't want to. I'm glad it's a look into her story, like a little bit of it, but I don't know. I was expecting something different.
But it was essentially 2 bedrooms, right?
No, it was 1 bedroom.
Well, that little offshoot bedroom that Mom and Dad stayed in, you would consider that a bedroom.
But that was the only bedroom. The room we were in was actually the living room. And the living room what we called the living room was actually the dining room.
Huh. Okay. All right. So that's how small it was.
How small
we had to turn it into something else. But the biggest room was always ours.
Yes.
And we were little, like baby littles.
Like 5 and 3.
The twin beds were head to head with like a end table in between.
And we had matching spreads.
Yeah, that Mom made. They were these big, bold stripes. And the twin beds were up against the wall. And she had the concept of creating like these little padding boards.
Yes.
She was so crafty. So she created these foam pads that
This is the moment where I start clicking through the video because, like, I'm glad it's personal, but
in the front where Mom
I want to know what's the purpose of the. I don't want to rush
some
it,
of
but-
the lessons that we learned as kids and and growing up, and from mom and dad, but also from different teachers and coaches and things we've learned along the way. And let me ask you this: what is one of the lessons that you learned from mom and dad that really sticks out to you?
Well, when I think about what we're talking about now, our relationship as brother and sister, why we're so excited about doing this podcast, not because we love to talk and we got lots of opinions, but especially since mom passed, this is a joint project that you and me have, and I think it's the first time we've actually worked together and helping people to understand. Where does that foundation come from where you and I feel so comfortable with each other and we have our whole lives where we can not only work together, but share what has helped to make us close.
Right.
I think about not just our bedroom space in that little bitty first apartment on Euclid Avenue, but I think about the kitchen table because the kitchen was the other gathering place. And in our house, we as young people with our parents, what they did for us was they invited us to sit with them at the table and talk. And I think very early on, because our parents had the wisdom to understand how wise kids could be and how important their voices were and how much fun it was to not just have kids just seen and not heard. In our household, our parents wanted to not just see us, but they wanted to hear us. They wanted to hear our ideas. They wanted to hear our opinions. I think that our parents offered us both the first table where we gained confidence in our voices, where we felt like who we were, what we thought, how we felt was important and not be.
So there's 8 minutes in, and granted I skipped a couple seconds, but I don't know what's the purpose of the podcast. And like they've alluded to almost telling us why they started the podcast, but they keep backtracking and taking us towards memory lane. And she didn't even answer his question. He asked, what's one memory that stuck out? And she going on this tangent. I don't know. It's losing my interest.
Because it was important to the rest of the world, but it was important to them.
Yeah.
And I think that's a piece of wisdom in terms of parenting that I try to share. I try to implement in my own life. But our parents wanted to hear from us. They loved our thoughts and ideas, and they encouraged us to say what was on our mind, do it respectfully for sure. But that, a lot of kids don't grow up like that.
They sure don't. And, I'm always asked how mom and dad came to be the type of parents that they were, that would be the type to let their kids come into the kitchen table and share in the conversation rather than being lectured to. And I always remember mom always, when we would always ask mom, how do you know something? She was like, well, I don't know everything.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. She was never afraid to tell us when she wasn't sure. And she said, let me think about it and get back to you. And that was one of the most powerful things as a parent. Like you're not supposed to know everything.
You don't have to know everything. And it's better to say you don't know than to make up something or lie or get yourself caught in a position where your kids come back to you and say, you gave me bad advice.
And a lot of parents are, a lot of parents think that a part of being the parent is to be the one with all the knowledge, with all the answers. And
so now they're giving parental advice. I still don't understand the purpose of the podcast. We went from memory lane to now we're giving parental advice to now we're talking about how great your parents were. Okay. I'm a little disappointed.
Because our parents didn't do that. It also gave us permission and taught us that, like in life, you are in a learning process all the time. And it's okay to be wrong. And it's okay to stumble. And mom and dad were also very good at talking to us.
It's factual information. Like, this is facts. And it's very positive. which is great, but like I'm already on this journey of self-discovery. So not to say I'm past this or it's not good to hear a reminder, but like Michelle Obama starts a podcast. And this is the first thing that we're talking about, that she's talking about. It was I'm a little disappointed. And 10 minutes, 51 seconds in, I don't think I can make it to 53 minutes.
Not just about their successes, but about their failures, what they did wrong, what they got wrong in life. And I see that time.
Man, what's happening, dog? What's going down? All right.
Time and time again, parents feel like they need a shield of all knowingness in order for their kids to respect them or in order to keep them safe. It's like, let me not share with you how I messed up a few times.
Yeah.
And I never felt the pressure of their judgment or their expectation in our lives.
And it's funny you say that, because this reminds me of my favorite lesson from them. When you talk about there's never any judgment, the only time mom and dad would really be
she
upset
said
with
a
us,
lot, and he had to pick out of that long 5-minute story that she gave. He had to pick out what was her favorite moment or favorite lesson that she learned, because she talked 5 minutes and just rambled. He had to pick. That was good. Hey, he a good co-host. He's a good co-host.
Is if we said, well, so-and-so said I should be doing this. And how about that word so-and-so?
Yeah,
that was
a
Robinson
big Robinson
term.
Who are these so-and-so?
So-and-so?
Yeah, it's just
so-and-so.
So-and-so is always a little trifling. That's all I remember about so-and-so.
So-and-so was trouble. If you hung out with so-and-so, you were going to get in trouble.
That's the only way you were going to ruin your life, is following behind so-and-so.
And
like
mom would meet so-and-so. But my point is, if you ever came in the house and said one of your friends, somebody outside of the family said, you should do something or you should be something, or how about let's try this, and you followed in behind them.
And that was your rationale?
That is when you caught it.
And not thinking for yourself.
Not thinking for yourself, and having enough confidence in your decision-making process to make decisions for yourself, and not because somebody wanted you to. Well, I wanted to wear bell-bottom jeans because everybody else is wearing them. That was the wrong answer. That was the way to not get your bell-bottom jeans. If you could come up with a reason why you wanted them, then you'd have some bell-bottom jeans. But if you said, I'm not doing this because of somebody out in the streets, as Dad would say, you out here listening to these guys
out in the streets.
So-and-so in the streets, forget it.
Well, that, you also made me think that, another thing that I think mom and dad was so wise about was because in order for them to push us to use our own judgment, they empowered us to make decisions and be responsible. Kids, even calling them from college,
get around and get
our
dressed.
Dad had a disability. Yeah, them to be late. You don't want them to get resentment on both parts. If you were trying to parent me, that would have replaced the special relationship that is my brother.
Yeah.
Which is something very different. I didn't need a father. I didn't need a mother. I needed a big brother. And so you were fully free to be that for me, and I wasn't your burden.
High ground with Michelle Obama and Craig Robinson.
Well,
all right, so I don't think I really want to watch anymore, because 19 minutes as a introduction, I guess that was their pilot, which is cool. I just wish that would have been it's 19 minutes and it looks like the start of another episode. That should have been an episode by itself. That should have been a 20-minute episode. Our history, get to know us, where we came from, why we're starting. Well, this is supposed to be an episode that explains why she's starting the podcast, but we got nothing like that. There was no explanation of why they're starting this podcast or what this podcast is going to be about, or what we can expect. If this is your first episode, and your first episode is your introduction, it really sets the tone for your identity. If this is gonna be a show about their opinion on their life growing up, I'm not tuning in. I'm just gonna be real. You know what? I am gonna watch some more, but I won't. I'm gonna watch a little more. Just to see if maybe this part will introduce some of what this podcast will be about.
Another story I think about is how mom and dad trained us to work hard.
The cleaning
Saturday morning.
Cleaning on Saturday morning.
That are designed for all of life's adventures. The folks at Rivian
My boy got that
believes that
Rivian
the ability to rest and recover
endorsement, so they got to do a
take his
commercial. That's what's up.
Offset everyone deserves. I remember talking to you before I talked to Mom about going into coaching.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I want to tell you a story about when I leaned on you, and I want to tell a story about when I didn't lean on you. That I would.
I'm really enjoying the payback of Craig Robinson now being Michelle Obama's brother.
Boy, times have changed.
But I grew up as Craig's little sister. It's like, oh, you Craig's little sister. I was like, yeah. But I do other things too.
It's more fun being Michelle Obama's big brother. Much more fun.
But even in those moments when we were in the same orbit.
I used to hate that shit. Oh, you Austin little brother. Oh, you Austin little brother. I used to hate that so much.
We were close, but again, in the same way, not overly dependent. We had our own friends. We had, if I was dating somebody, because that was the other thing, dating like big men on campus in college. I think you scared off a lot of potential.
You would have had way more dates. You had way more dates once I graduated.
Yes, I did. I think people didn't want to piss off Craig.
And it wasn't like I was trying to mark any territory or anything. It was just,
your presence.
It's just walk around, people get nervous.
And then you graduate, then you go off and you play basketball. You have a whole nother experience. You move to Manchester, England and play in Europe for a couple of years. So you're coming and going. And then you get married. And I was very close with you and your first wife. We were not inseparable, but it was a close family. We did things together. And then Avery was born and we were always right there. We were very tight-knit family. And then I met Barack and, then we got married and we bought a condo right down the street from your condo.
Like 3 buildings down.
3 buildings down in Hyde Park in Chicago. So that was a period when we were around each other a lot. And when you see your brother and you think or your sibling or somebody you care about and you think everything is good, and you're rooting for them. And then you learn that things are falling apart because you think, I thought I saw some things that were red flags, but I would always be like, how you doing? And your reply would be, we're great. We're good.
Fine.
And after that, once it all unraveled, I said, your definition of fine. I was like, don't ever tell me that.
Yeah, see, this could have been several episodes for them. Investment bankers. I'm gonna keep reading, going forward a little bit.
At average risk for colorectal cancer. Wherever you get your podcast, look us up. And
all right, let's go back.
A little earlier about being our parents being before there was the term lifetime learners, right?
I just changed my mind because I heard him say his parents. Let's check out some of these comments. I'm still gonna give it a like because I'm glad that they're being personable and somebody's gonna watch this and still relate to the fact that they told their story on how they grew up. 211,000 views dropped 3 days ago. That's what's up. 8,500 comments. That's what's up. That's a lot of support. Miss Michelle Obama, 31.3 thousand subscribers. That's what's up. In 3 days and starting a YouTube, go ahead now. When this guy John is cheapest. What? If Hillary Clinton, these comments is kind of crazy. If Hillary Clinton had made this podcast, all the commentators would have been missing. Someone here has got some serious cojones. Okay, only Michelle Obama has them. She left her comments. Oh man, the comments are kind of. I don't know. This is not supportive at all. This should be called drop mic. What's going on? It seems like everybody's just taking a chance to take a stab at Michelle Obama. Barely 60. What is going on? Video score of 48%. Internet is a great gauge for just how influential someone is. The old guard media is absolutely dead. Okay. I just want to see some support. I want to keep scrolling because there got to be some type of support. Wow. Not naming this podcast Big Mac is such a missed opportunity. Big Michelle. Big Mick. I said Big Mac. It's Big Mick. That's a stupid name. Down. Get at the thumbs down, player. Having a bad day and my wife slept. Okay, I don't care. John Rivers was right. These comments are random as hell. This podcast, I'm gonna say that I'm definitely gonna leave a comment because I love leaving comments on videos I review. I'm gonna say Mrs. Obama because I'm respectful. I'm just gonna say I love the idea because I want to put some positivity. And y'all know at the end of my videos, I basically do a review of the channel and I give my opinion on what I think could make the channel better or could just give you another idea of different type of videos that you can make about the channel. Let's go check out hers specifically. So we go to Michelle Obama's YouTube channel. It's her and her brother. New episode of IMO every Wednesday. I love it. I like the colors. I like that it has both of their faces on it. I like that it has the title on. I like that it let me know when the episode is going to drop on the thumbnail. Michelle Obama, and then it's her face on there, which is kind of confusing because it's a podcast with her and her brother, but the YouTube channel name is Michelle Obama, and her brother's going to be, I guess, her assistant, her podcast assistant or whatever, her second chair. I'm just wondering why not Michelle and Craig? Like, wouldn't that be a more accurate representation? Go down and look at her videos. She only has a couple videos. I guess this started 4 days ago. All her videos well in the thousands of views, which is great. It's Michelle Obama. Of course, she's gonna garner views. I like that the thumbnails for all her videos are color coordinated. She has Issa Rae on some of the videos. So the title of the podcast is In My Opinion. And I guess it's gonna be Some Friendships Need to Go, Issa Rae. In my opinion, Beats and Hot Dogs. In my opinion, Plain Etiquette. In my opinion, Michelle Obama, Craig Robinson. Michelle Obama, Craig Robinson started a podcast. This is the episode we just watched. I think that episode, I'm not gonna front, the episode sucked. I think just being honest, I think it truly sucked. And here's why. In that episode, they gave us a bunch of flashbacks and talked about how they grew up, the important lessons that they learned from their parents. Why they are the way they are, their opinion on each other growing up, which is all beautiful things. But those could have been broken down into separate episodes, like in my opinion, and all of that could have been the rollout. Why we started the podcast episode, the biggest lesson that we learned from our parents episodes, like whoever's clipping these videos should have clipped them separately. Remembering my brother growing up episode, remembering my sister growing up episode. And I find it weird, and because now I don't know what to expect on their videos. Like, I really don't know what they're going to talk about because they only talked about their past on that episode. And it's Michelle Obama. If I were, not to say if I were Michelle Obama, but I followed the Obamas a little bit during their presidency. But I remember Michelle Obama's top initiatives were Let's Move. She had Joining Forces and Family. She had Reach Higher. She had Learn Girls Learn. She had Healthy Hungry, Free Kids Act. If I was starting a podcast as Michelle Obama, clearly she doesn't want to be political. And she might not want to talk about current events. She doesn't have to. She can definitely talk about things that or well, she would have to talk about current events. She should talk about current events, but she should talk about events that were relevant to what people know her for. She wanted people to be healthier, so she should review things about health. She wanted people to have higher education. She should review things about higher education, new policies about higher education, new ideas about higher education. She can have guests on who have different ideas about how we can teach kids better, or teach kids sooner, or teach kids new sooner. You know what I'm saying? She could talk about girls economically, like she wanted to with Let Girls Learn, about them having access to school. She can talk about policies overseas, like why aren't girls in some countries still not allowed to learn. She can talk about all of those things. Especially since she wants to show a more personable, down-rooted side, like she's just a person, because that's really what this kind of gives me. I think they want to paint her as, she's just a person. And I guess that makes her more relatable if they can paint her in that picture, in that position. But Michelle Obama is a brand. It's Michelle Obama could be a lifestyle. It could be anything. She could be anything. So, and people are clearly watching her. But I think just like those comments that we were reading were all over the place, I think that happened because if we come to her page, these topics, and if these videos are put together the way the video that we watched are put together, then those videos they're put together wrong. They're put together badly. They're described badly. They're all, I guess, a mess. So those comment sections are going to be a mess. Michelle Obama is a leader, so her giving her opinion on anything is going to be looked at in a role model type way. So I think if she goes back to those initiatives and talking points that she was big on, when the public was more into during her husband's presidency, I think if she goes back towards those and she finds topics and ideas related to those, and she make episodes about those, and then she sprinkles in, personal episodes like this, which gives us more insight into, okay, this is why she thinks the way she thinks, because she learned this in this point of her life. I think that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna subscribe, but I will follow the podcast and watch a couple episodes from here and there. Let me know what you think about Michelle Obama's page. Let me know what you think about that first video. Let me know what you think about my opinion. Let me know in the comments, please. Just talk to me. I don't want to be harsh, but I always want to be fair, and I want to give my honest opinion. Because I think I get good ideas, and I feel like this is my gift. So I'm gonna talk. Other than that, I'm Winston. I appreciate y'all for stopping by. I'm gone.